Mystery schools were great mystic institutions revealed to a select few throughout civilization. For connecting humans to their higher consciousness, the ancient Egyptian mystery schools were idolized by the Greeks, and the Greek mysteries were worshipped by the Romans. You're invited to bring those mysteries into the modern day. Welcome to Mystery School.
Welcome to Mystery School. I'm Jess. This is a how-to series for the consciousness curious. And today we are talking about channeling. To join us, we have Riz Mirza, Riz the Wiz. He's one of the most respected trance channelers in the world. Today is not about convincing anyone of anything. It's just us being curious. And Riz will take us through what channeling is, how he experiences it in his body, and if you at home might want to gently try it on for size. So, school's in session. Let's begin.
Okay. Being a kid who was born in Harlem, raised in the Bronx, kind of shy, mixture of shy and an extrovert. And that shyness was where the sensitivity was because of this psychic phenomenon that was happening in my life at a very young age.
Very young. So very young, you knew it was happening.
I didn't use the word psychic.
Yeah.
But clearly it was, because it was all of those markers of how did you know that, basically, and feeling energies and what we would call spiritual energies, spirits, presence in a room.
Yeah. So what's interesting, I feel, about that, what you're saying, and also what we're doing here with Mystery School is I'm just a layperson. And I want to know more about how we do this thing that you do called channeling or trance channeling or what it is. But more than that, I think that I have some level of psychic ability. We all have psychic ability. This I know from working on the telepathy tapes now for the last 4 years, is that we are all psychic in some.
I'd like to offer everyone 3 distinct definitions, because these words are going to be coming up a lot in conversation over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, because we are headed that way.
We're there.
Right.
We're
So we have psychic, we have medium, and we have channeler.
Yes. And are you all 3? Or
I am all 3, yes. I am all 3. Okay, so psychic, let's talk about that. Your traditional psychic is able to tap into what is happening in a person's life or around them. They might say in a reading something like, oh, there's a job in Florida. And then the person goes, yes. Or they might say something like, oh, your keys, you dropped them in the park. That would be kind of psychic.
Yes.
Or there's someone, okay. Then, and by the way, it's not just about the future. Psychics also tap into helping you understand the past. What happened before. Now, a medium, traditionally, because we have shows like the Long Island Medium, and we have wonderful mediums like John Edward out there who are connecting with people who have crossed over, people who have died. We say crossed over. Those are mediums. A psychic is not necessarily a medium, and a medium is not necessarily a psychic. A lot of time when you watch medium shows, it is simply about the connection to that loved one on the other side.
Yes. I feel like for me personally, I feel like I am psychic, but not medium, but I definitely feel psychic. And
well, there's an old saying.
Someone said recently it was intuitive was the word, or like the intuitive encompasses all of it.
And we'll get to that in empath as well. But I think these 3 are really the most well-known words. So some people say that mediums are born, they're not made. So you're born with mediumship. I'm not a person who's into hard and fast rules. I think there are some blurry lines and some overlapping that does happen. So now let's go into channeling. So a channeler is a person who is able to go into a very deep state of consciousness, which would be a very deep meditative state. The levels of that meditative state vary. Some people, they will be in a light meditative state in the sense that it's still the person, the channeler, you know that they're there. They're talking to you, and maybe their eyes are closed, and they're saying, your spirit guide is saying this. The universe is saying this. Or they might be channeling a well-known person in the past, and we'll get into that later. So then you have deeper states, the deepest being trance channeling. Trance. You're in a trance, which means you're almost like you're talking in your sleep.
Yes.
So now we got to get into, well, who are you channeling? Because if you go on YouTube, you will see people of all varying degrees of expertise and ability channeling people from famous figures from history. We have books filled with people who have channeled people from history. There's a very famous channeler named Jane Roberts. Jane Roberts was the first. If you don't know who Jane Roberts is, you have to stop reading every book you've ever read about metaphysics and go back to where it began in the Western world,
Oh, I'm
which
so
is
excited.
was with a book called Seth Speaks.
Okay.
Seth.
Mhm.
Seth was a spirit. Seth is a spirit guide. Excuse me. Who came to a woman named Jane Roberts and her husband living in upstate New York in Elmira, New York, many decades ago. We're talking in the 60s, and she began channeling Seth, and she dictated books that are this thick from
Mm.
beginning to end, which became the foundational ideology, principle, understanding of reality that all of the metaphysical books and all of the teachers that you've ever known, from Wayne Dyer to blah, 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 to Joe
Abraham.
Dispenza, all of them, they're all based, Deepak Chopra, all those people, all based on the Seth books and teachings.
Amazing.
Okay, so
I
check
did
that
not
out.
know this. This is really something I'm learning because I know all of those names and have been a big follower of Esther Hicks and Abraham for
And Esther Hicks
25
number
years.
one is, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but listen, the Seth material is very dense. It's not necessarily the kind of thing you just pick up at Barnes and Noble and have a coffee and read. It is like you want to go in very, very deep. You want to go in with language where you'll read 4 lines and just have to sit for a moment and think
Yes.
about what was said. Okay,
Yes.
that's the Seth material. A lot of the channel material that has come then, after that is very friendly, very much easier to read. But when you're ready, go check out the Seth material, and a lot of dots will be connected.
I hope it's on Audible and I can listen to it over.
I think there are YouTube videos. I think there are YouTube videos. You'll be pausing a lot and listening, thinking about that again.
Well, what's funny is somebody's come up recently on my algorithm that I got real interested in very quickly, and I think she was channeling me, which is Sylvia Brown.
Oh,
Do you
the
know who
psychic.
Sylvia?
She passed
Yes.
away some years ago.
Yeah, so I was getting I was out of nowhere. Her name was coming forward on my algorithm. And I was like, let me look into this a little bit further because it felt intentional. I did not
Yes.
feel like it was a coincidence that I felt like I was being spoken to. And as you know, I'm a documentary executive producer. I thought, well, I want to tell this woman's story. I think she's like hitting me up to tell her story.
She may be. She used to be on the show called Montel Williams a lot
Well,
back
I
in the
got
90s.
Montel is included in this project. So I reached
He
out
was a
to
good
Montel
friend.
Williams because I know him. You know him, yeah?
I
mean,
don't
as
know
a
him personally, but I used to watch it when I was in my 20s, and my ability was just sprouting in a legitimate professional way.
Yes.
Sylvia was there's a lot of controversy around her
Yes.
because there were things that she said that were wrong. And
Yes.
let's address that. Psychics are not 100% right all the time. They are remarkably right a majority of the time. And that's why they're psychics.
Yeah. We have a woman named Laura Lynn Jackson.
Mhm.
Do you know Laura Lynn Jackson? She's
I don't.
also a medium. So she's
Yeah.
been like tested by, I'm forgetting what the name of the test was, but she was tested maybe by ions or someone was doing some kind of scientific experiment where she was getting 85% of her predictions correct. And I think
Now here,
she,
yes.
yeah. So she,
Yeah.
I think, is like the most known for getting the most like psychic predictions correct.
I like where our conversation is going because these are things that people really think about and question when it comes to psychic phenomena. Now, I don't spend time on podcasts speaking or talking to or addressing skeptics. I don't recommend it to anyone in life to start having to formulate what they say for someone who not interested or not believe in what they say. You don't believe in it, enjoy your life. There are other people who do. That's why we have different channels. You can change the channel if you don't believe in
that's
anything.
right.
Okay, great. But that being said, when I'm explaining psychic work, it's not for skeptics that I'm trying to say, you don't understand. They don't have to be right 100% of the time. That's not what I'm doing. I'm actually explaining to you in a detailed way from someone who has been deeply entrenched and discovering and practicing what I have learned out there in the metaphysical field and explaining this to you. So there's several reasons why you might say, well, that psychic had that wrong. And then you go, well, then why are there so many things that psychic had right? Well, do you know how many times great athletes struck out at the plate in baseball? And they're the greatest baseball players of all time.
That's a great analogy for it.
Babe Ruth was a home run king, and he also was a strikeout king.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
great analogy for it.
Thank you. And I really like to use these analogies because it starts to clarify and demythify, taking away the myths of what people think is just it's a crystal ball and this will definitely happen. Now we have to go into how are we tapping into what reality is? And this is a big conversation, and you can find so many things online. We create our reality, and there's multi dimensions, and this is a hologram or this is a projection. I don't think we're going to answer all of those things today, but I do want to say to you that all of us are born with a psychic sense. We call it the sixth sense or the third eye. We seem to place it here between the eyebrows. Indian culture, Egyptian culture, South American culture, they've all referred throughout history to this pineal gland that exists in the center of our skull. And that is attributed by spiritual people to being where your psychic sense exists and where it functions. So people meditate on this spot between their third and their eyebrows. Okay, that being said, do you want me to go a little bit more detailed?
Go for it. I love it.
Okay.
I mean, are we correct to say that it's here? I
I believe that, yes. Yeah, I do
here.
believe that. I do believe that there's some fundamental teachings that I notice that if I focus there, it really brings me into the space of centeredness rather than if I focus, I don't know, here.
Right.
I don't know,
And
in
it's
my
also maybe
elbow.
closer to your crown chakra. So maybe it's like
Yes.
closer to what's above your higher self.
Yes. So chakras being I want to say the map of how we understand the energy systems of our body that relate to emotions. Well, that's a lot of words. Chakras, these spinning globes, orbs of light that we see in photographs going from the base of the spine to the base of the skull. And each of these 7 chakras, interestingly enough, 7 colors in the rainbow, the colors of the rainbow in that order,
Yes.
right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue,
Roy
indigo,
G. Biv.
violet. I haven't heard that in 30 years. You guys will have to Google what she just said. So that rainbow, those chakras, have you noticed that in some of the religious scripture, they refer to the 7 heavens, or we have this phrase called, I was in 7th heaven.
Yes.
No one ever asks what that means.
No,
What do you mean you're in
ever. I just
7th
thought it
heaven?
rhymed. I thought it was a game you played and where you got locked in a closet.
Right. But that meant you were at the ultimate state of enjoyment. I was in 7th heaven.
Yes.
Okay, but in Western religion, there's either heaven or hell, not 6 or 7 heavens. So what I believe that referred to was the chakras. And it's in religious scripture, 7 heavens, 7 chakras, the highest meaning when you have reached completion, the highest level of enlightenment is when that crown chakra bursts open.
I love that. I've never thought about it that way, and I really feel like you're onto something.
Thank you. There was a quote that was attributed to Jesus that said, "Let thine eye be single."
Yeah. Yeah.
And okay, so it goes on and on. So let's talk about the channeling. Before we even talk about what channeling spirit guides are, I'd like to say for the record, everyone has spirit guides. It doesn't matter what culture you look at. There's always some reference in their spiritual teachings to the fact that we are not alone, that there's a presence, that we are being watched, we are being assisted. In some cultures, we are being judged. But that's kind of about the higher power, the judgment of like if you did right or wrong. The spirit guides, angels, ancestors, watchers, the protectors, these are all words used in different cultures that are reinforcing, they all have this belief that we're not by ourselves. And I don't mean aliens.
Yes.
So the role of the spirit guides is not to give you what you want or to help you get what you want. The role of the spirit guides is to help you understand that your life is a spiritual journey and they are here to help you connect the dots. Remember Connect the Dots when we were kids, the coloring book? We follow the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then, oh, it's a duck. We see the big picture when we connect the dots. So the spirit guides' job, you might say, is to help you throughout lifetimes as a soul understand your path and how you are evolving. So you might say all the chakras light up and you are then reaching the stage of pure, you may call it enlightenment. Let's just say, I like to say freedom, because enlightenment is a very heavy word.
Yes.
So that's your path, right? You're an eternal, endless being. Okay, so channeling right now. And thank you for letting me just flow like this. So right now, where everyone is sitting in their homes or in their car, no matter where you are in the world, there are radio frequencies flying around you, meaning radio stations are in your city or town, and they are sending signals through the air. If you bought a radio, from Home Depot and turned it on, stuck the antenna up, you would be able to tune into all of these stations. Now, literally, songs are flying through the air around you right now. And if you had a radio and you went to 98.7, you would get one song. You turn it just a little bit to the right, 98.9, and you'll get a classical song. You turn a little bit more to the right, and you might get a rock song, which means these sounds and frequencies are flying around you, but you cannot hear them with this physical ear. You need that antenna. You need that contraption, that radio, to hear them. This is scientific fact. This has nothing to do at this point with spirits or the spirit world. We're talking science. All right. You blow a dog whistle. Your dog will hear it, but you can't, because it's out of the capability of your physical ear to hear that. It doesn't mean the sound is not there. Your dog is proving it to you. I don't hear any songs playing in this room right now, but if I had a radio, it would prove to me that there's 100 songs flying around me. So who's to say that you know what is around you? You just don't have the technology to hear it. A psychic or a medium or a channeler has a much more finely developed sense psychically. Even though you do have a psychic sense, it's not developed, or you don't have the natural gift that they have. Just like music. Some people can just play music and be in tune better because their sense is better. You know, a study had shown that a professional painter, I mean like an actual portrait painter,
Mm-hmm.
can see 300 times more gradients of
Oh,
color
wow.
than you or I. And what about taste sensitivity? How sensitive do you think Gordon Ramsay's taste buds are? Extremely sensitive. He could
Yes.
you could cook something, not tell him the ingredients, and he could taste it and tell you. You put a little bit of anisay in there, right? And we couldn't taste it, but he can.
Yes. My
So
father and
it's
I would be
channeling.
able to, like, we could hear music and just play it.
So
I
that's a
don't know what that
sense,
is.
right? And you can also, some people can listen to a piece of music and they can hear, oh, the bass is out of tune.
Mm-hmm.
And other people are like, what's the bass? The song sounds great, but a highly trained ear would go, I can't listen to this song because the bass is out of tune.
Yes.
Guys, this is the exact same thing as the so-called difference between very psychic people and non-psychic people. They can hear your grandma. She hasn't gone. She's
Mm-hmm.
changed form. She's gone from water to steam.
Mm-hmm. Another great analogy.
Thank you. I don't think I made that one up, but I
But
do
it's
like it.
interesting how, like, it really just puts it into pretty, like, understand, you can, like, digest what you're saying. It's not
Thank
wooey
you.
out in the realms of not of like understanding when you put it this way.
Because we're going that way in this
Yeah.
world. There's too much going on in the world where we're not breaking things down clearly
Right.
enough. We need this coherence.
Yes.
So channeling is a technology.
Mm-hmm.
It is an actual inner technology. It's what I call
And,
IT.
like, can we call it inner technology in IT, or is it really just a science, like energy that we don't see or gravity that we don't see?
So, but what is science? Is science a magic that you're trying to understand, or is magic a science you are trying to understand?
I think magic is a science that we're
I know,
trying.
because we say things like, we raised it to an art, or
Mm.
we got it down to a science.
Uh-huh.
And I go, huh. So we've got to do both here because the technique of channeling requires, like anything else, if you're to do it well, because we can all run around the track. It doesn't mean we're going to win the Olympics. Okay. We can all run. I can tell you how to put your sneakers on and you can run as fast as you can, but you may pull a muscle, you may trip, you may run the wrong way. I don't know. But you're running around a track. There's a lot of channelers like that. There's a lot of accountants like that. There's a lot of doctors like that. How do you know who's good? Oh, you'll know. I could say there's a lot of great psychics I've met who've never been tested under rigorous scientific conditions. Yeah, but I can bring you to a group reading and you can see them read all these strangers in the room.
Yes.
And you go, that's another type of psychic ability. There's another type of psychic ability where I'm in one room and I write a number down and someone in the other room goes, you wrote 31. And we go, oh my God, they got it 10 times out of 10. That is
Yeah.
incredible. Let's
Yes.
get that straight. That's incredible. But they may not be able to tell you something deeply personal about you that no one knows that you're thinking about and wishing you could heal and do.
Mm.
And what's these little different secret keys of how you can unlock your life. To me, that's much more valuable, but
Yes.
each one has its value. each one, we're not trying to diminish any ability here. They're all remarkable, but we need to know the difference. And we also need to be sober about it and go, okay, how does that help me?
I hope as we move into the place where people will be receiving this information as just everyday, you know, normal speak, I
Yeah.
hope that mental health goes in the direction that we don't just have talk therapy, but that we have like channeled therapy. And that actually, like I do EMDR, there should be as part of the next, of these indigo children that are being born, we should create a world, or maybe it'll just happen on its own, where they're in mental health. They're just doctors in mental health.
Yes. I've channeled for all different ages, but my God, I've had 10-year-olds, 8-year-olds sit at my
Mm-hmm.
channeling circles. The parents will bring them.
Mm-hmm.
They flow right with
Oh,
it,
yeah.
many of them. They'll just ask the spirit guide a question.
Yeah.
So let's talk about spirit guides. So we just said every culture refers to them. You may turn on YouTube and you will see some people channeling and their voices are really out there. It's very theatrical presentation of the spirit guide. And people have asked me that.
Your voice
And
gets pretty deep, my friend.
I know it's because I am a very, you might say, a very open, artistic, theatrical person.
Huh.
And the spirit guides go, he's a Ferrari. Let's take it to 100,
Yes.
250.
Okay. That's hot.
Why not do it? He's willing. And sometimes people will ask me, or you have your people like, how come all these, this is the comment culture. Once in a while, I'll read comments. I suggest don't. It will do nothing for your life. Just stick to what you do. And you can type in, people will say, well, why do all these spirit guys have these accents? How could a spirit have an accent? I go, you're a spirit that has an accent, but I'm a human right now. Yeah, but you have no idea what the other side is. So what do you know? What are you basing this on, that how could they have accents? You're basing it on your programming of your whole life. People told you something
Yeah.
that you were doing all these formulas and calculations that led you to say, well, spirits can't have accents. So I'm here to say the entire universe, all of reality, ultimately is one massive mystery. And there's no one who knows absolutely everything about it. So people have said to me, you're a master channeler. And I say, thank you. Let me correct you. I'm a master explorer of channeling.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's not because I'm not trying to be egotistical, go like, yes, I'm a master channeler. Don't say that. I'm not a master channeler. I'm not actually saying that. It's just an incorrect way to view this very remarkable aspect of life. You can talk about it as mastery. I'm a mastery of exploring it. And I just like to share what I have found in my adventures through the jungles and up the mountains and through the rivers and streams. And I come back and share it with you. So that I've mastered is exploring it and talking about it.
Yes.
So I don't know what mastering it is. I've been doing it 20 years for large groups of audiences, delivering for me and for many of them really accurate messages and insights. So the spirit guides are wise teachers.
Yes.
They are not in the physical body anymore. They exist all around you. Everyone has them. Some of them are what I would call speakers. This is what I'm telling you what I've experienced. There's a difference. So grandma is not your spirit guide. Our family members are not our spirit guides. They're our cheerleaders. They're on the other side cheering us on. Spirit guides are real teachers who have worked with you in different lifetimes, helping guide you.
So I was in a meditation, and I've been metaphysical, I'll call it, for most of my life. And I was in a meditation a while ago, and I said to my spirit guide, spirit guide, can you just reveal yourself to me? Like, what is your name? And very clearly, it wasn't a voice and it wasn't a person. It just came in my my mind. This spirit said, Anna. My name is Anna. And I was like, is her name Anna? Who is Anna? Is this real, or am I just imagining this? Because I too am an artist and a creative person. So is Anna made up in my head, or is Anna existing on the other side, as my homie? I don't know.
I would say existing on the other side as your homie.
Uh-huh.
When you've been doing something a long time, and all you guys who are watching, if you've been doing something a long time, you have a lot of knowledge about it and a lot of detailed knowledge about what you know a lot about. And when some people don't know a lot about what you know and you have to explain it, sometimes there's a tendency you want to tell them so much detail, but you have to stick to the basics. So when I give my talks, I can be here till next Tuesday. I want to just really stick to the fundamental basics and definitions so you guys really know what we're all talking about. So when we talk about, am I making it up? Was that really a spirit guide? Is her name really Anna? I tell people, whatever name you get, if you feel that it's Anna, just use that name. The spirit guide knows you're not exactly hearing completely clearly. You haven't developed that sense. What were you like the first time you went to the gym? You didn't even know how to lift a weight. When you learn to dance, I mean, anything that you learn, it takes time for you to even understand what you're doing and to see things. You know, a painter, let's go back to the painting thing. I'm going to give you a funny example. Here's a good example. When I was a kid, I used to love to watch my mom in the kitchen. And I used to watch these commercials on television for like Betty Crocker and all this cake stuff. And she's like, I can make a cake. You know, all moms back in the 80s, I'll make you a cake. And so she was baking cake and I was really excited. I was in the kitchen and I was going to give her all the ingredients. And I'll never forget when I saw the salt sitting on the kitchen counter next to the chocolate and the ice, you know, and I grabbed the salt and I went to put it back in the cabinet. And she says, put it back. What are you doing? And I said, I don't want a salty cake. I don't want a salty cake. That was my logic. I was innocent to it. What did I know about cakes? And she said to me, you have to have salt in the cake. And I was upset. I almost wanted to cry that I was going to taste salt in this cake. And she said, if you don't have salt, none of the other flavors you're going to taste. I didn't believe this for a minute. She didn't test my my belief. She just put the salt in the cake.
Yes.
So you have to be able to taste that. Now, if a chef tasted that, would say, you didn't put salt in this. This cake doesn't taste good. Man, how do they know that? Their sensitivity is so strong. So in channeling, your sensitivity is actually your strength. You have to learn how to refine this technology, this tech inside of you. You have asked that same kid, show that kid a McLaren car or a Ferrari and show them a Toyota Corolla. And then say to this kid who knows nothing about cars, you say, well, this car is the $500,000 car and this car is the $30,000 car. Which car do you think is stronger? Kid will go the $500,000 car. Which car do you think, because that car's stronger, which car do you think you have to, take more care of because it's probably going to fall apart if you don't? The kid would say, well, the Corolla, it's a cheaper car. Wrong. You have to baby the Ferrari. You have to use the softest cloth. You can't leave it outside too long. You have to make sure the temperature is right.
The Corolla, you could drive right into the ground. It'll last you 40 years.
And I did. It was my first car. But here's the thing. What this is telling us is that, but is the Ferrari more advanced? 10,000 light years more advanced than the Corolla. Why? Because every system in that Ferrari is more sensitive and highly refined. Therefore, it's more advanced.
Yes.
So you got to take care of yourself in order to be able to develop your intuition. You have to stretch your body. You have to do all more high vibrational things in your life. You have to do inner work and surrender and you have to let go of so many emotional, I would say, layers and traps that prevent you from receiving information. To really be good and to get better, you can't have all these blocks.
Right.
So the more inner work you do, simply put, the more relaxed and happy and non-judgmental you become. I made it very simple for you. The more relaxed, happy, and non-judgmental you become, you will receive information more clearly because you're not judging it by saying, is it my imagination? I don't believe it. Or why would I don't like Edgar Allan Poe. I feel like I was getting a message from Edgar Allan Poe. That happened to me in his house. I actually visited Edgar Allan Poe's house and I felt it. And then I did a whole video on the channeling of that. And guess what? Edgar Allan Poe, when I channeled him, was not talking about death and scary things. He actually spoke a lot about love and kind of channeling words out.
Mm.
He was he took care of his wife who was sick for so many years. And he was this amazingly sensitive guy. So this is what I do. This is what leads up to talking about channeling and how you can do it is it's not you just sit there and go, okay, spirit guides, come in. Okay, I got the message now and I'm going to share it with everyone. That's all ego and fantasy, and that's not what channeling is. You don't need to do this to get it. And meanwhile, I'm of Indian descent. Like, we're all about the meditation. You don't need to do that to get there. But you do have to learn how to completely quiet your mind. When I channel... Go ahead.
I was going to ask, for someone who's, you've been doing it for decades, for someone who's just starting out how they need to focus, what are the steps one takes to quiet their mind in that way?
Number one is breathing. I would suggest for everyone to learn Breath work. Who knew that in this life that we would have to learn how to actually breathe? The first thing we know how to do without anybody telling us, we have to relearn when we get older how
I
to
also
breathe.
believe that breath work is probably the closest thing to doing like a psychedelic without having to do drugs. I
Thank
feel like
you.
breath work
Well,
breaks the
psychedelics are not drugs.
or plant. What are we calling it?
Drugs are in CVS and on the street corner. That's where
There you
drugs
go.
are sold. Sacred medicine that was kept intact for our benefit, like ayahuasca or psilocybin or frog medicine, all of these were kept intact by tribes so that we
Mm,
could have soul healing in modern times, which is why all of these government institutions are now trying to pass laws to make psilocybin legal. And
right.
there's a lot here. Those are sacred medicines. They're non-addictive. Drugs are
Yes.
addictive.
Mm,
Sugar is much more of a drug than psilocybin is.
yes.
Psilocybin is not a drug. So let's always keep that here so everyone makes a distinction.
Yep. Thank you for
Watch
schooling.
and do research. Yeah. So here we go. So yes, breath work. You're right. Breathing is your key to your brainwave state. It is the key to your nervous system actually coming into alignment and resetting and being open.
Mm,
So all of your systems, they are regulated by the breathing. So you don't even need to do any calling in your spirit guides thing yet. Why do people, when they take, is it anesthesia, or they come out of the doctor's office, or they're going into a surgery and they're they're taking whatever they give them, many times those people have psychic visions. They call
mm,
it hallucinations. So if I go into a home and I see a spirit of someone and I describe them, am I hallucinating? But what if it gets confirmed that that's the person who lived here? We've all seen psychic mediums do this. Happens all the time to us. That's not a hallucination. When you do a sacred medicine journey, you go with the shaman and you're doing that sacred plant medicine. And tribes have been telling you for centuries, the tree is breathing, the rocks are alive, everything is vibrating. But then you do the medicine ceremony and you see it.
yes.
Well, you're not hallucinating. You're seeing the truth. You're more hallucinating when you're not seeing that, when
Yes.
everything looks flat. That's your hallucination, my friends.
Mm,
You live in a spiritual reality. Get your head out of everything that movies and television and stories and what people told you, and this is good and this is evil and this is that is not getting you anywhere. In ancient times, everyone who is listening to this podcast, your ancestors back were all in tribes. And these tribes were in connection with the earth and the stars and the spirit world. It's how they lived, and community, and everyone knew their role. And the shaman got you together on that Friday night with the fire burning and playing the drum. It doesn't matter if you're black, you're brown, you're white, you're red, you're yellow, or whatever. These are all in every single tribe, from Celtic Irish tribes to Native American tribes to African tribes. It was the same. And there was a seer in every single tribe who could say what they were seeing was going to come. There's the psychic of the tribe, the medicine woman, the medicine man, across all cultures. We have not changed. I'm sitting in a yoga studio. Instead of fire, it's LED candles, but I'm still sitting there and people are still sitting in a circle and they're receiving the information. So channeling is part of our history. It is not new age. It is old age. The new age is the old age,
yes.
the oldest age.
Yes. Ancient wisdom. What is it? New age? No, what is it? There's like, I'm forgetting, but it's something to do with ancient wisdom being.
Why wouldn't we be able to, if we tune ourselves here? Let's say that when you cross over, okay, look at this. I'm going to do like this. Okay. So here's us. Here's your loved one who is about to die. Okay. So we're on the same frequency. When they die, do you think that their frequency lowers or do you think their frequency probably rises? I say it rises.
Rises as well. Yeah.
So what happened? And so there they go. And then what happens to our frequency when they die because we're in pain and we're mourning?
Look
So
at
now
that.
the gap is big. What does the word medium mean?
My goodness. It's a wonderful lesson.
So the medium is not distracted by the pain that you are distracted by because the medium doesn't know your grandpa. The medium's like, yeah, grandpa's fine. He's doing great. He's doing this or that. And you're like, oh my God, that's what he loved to do. And he's here. Yeah, well, that's his version of heaven on the other side. He's hanging out with this other person. They give the name. It's like, oh my God, that was his best friend. Yes, that's how a mediumship reading goes. But it's all about where the frequency is. Say to you, when you're in deep in pain, it's the hardest to receive a message from your loved one because now the frequencies are so far apart. So yes, you can hire a medium to help bridge that gap, but what you can do for yourself is release grief.
Mm.
Well, that you can do in many ways.
Yeah, it's
Not
hard.
okay, in many ways. So we want to bring the frequencies to be more aligned so you can receive that information. So you say, well, I did receive a message from my grandma. If Does that make me a medium? And I go, no, if you received a message from my grandma, that would make you a medium. So
That's funny.
you're just using your natural ability, which is
Mhm.
medium-ish, but it's just for you. When it's for others, that will make you a medium, and others will tell you if you're correct. You don't, sometimes people say, are those mediums on television real? I'm like, if they weren't real, believe me, you would have already known, okay,
Yes.
there's talented mediums out there.
Yes.
And there's some who are not so known. They exist.
Yeah.
So let's now,
Sorry, looping back to Sylvia Brown, clapback.
yeah,
So her books speak about the beyond and what's beyond when you pass on,
yeah.
and about the halls of medicine and science and academia and speakers. And it's fascinating. If you've not read her books or listened to them, I suggest to give it a download, because her telling of what was in the beyond is the closest thing that I have felt in my soul that that's the right
That is
thing.
accurate. Correct.
Yeah.
I would also agree that there's a movie that you should see as a medium. What I would say is pretty close to what I've also experienced and how the soul travels after physical death would be a movie called What Dreams May Come.
Okay.
What Dreams May Come. It's interesting, right? You haven't heard of it?
Hmm. I may have.
And here's what's amazing. Robin Williams is the star of that film.
It's the narrative. It's creative film. It's not a
No,
documentary.
it's an actual
Oh.
Hollywood movie that came and went. And it is one of the most profound, in my top 3 most profound films of all time. And you should go, watch it on, Amazon or wherever it is. What Dreams May
Yeah.
Come. I would say it's 95% of what I've experienced of how the soul journeys through the after physical life.
Okay.
Okay, so why spirit guides? So yeah, so how do people get in to start channeling? You're talking about something pretty massive when you say channeling. You're going to in my opinion, the hardest and most challenging aspect of kind of psychic ability is channeling. Why? Because when you trance channel, you are actually letting your body be the vessel for that spirit guide to physically speak through. It will
Mm-hmm.
no longer be your words. It may not even be your voice. It's
Mm-hmm.
not scary like The Exorcist. You're not going to get possessed. That's not what this is about. There are low-level spirits out there. I'll talk to you about that. But I'm talking about straight up, pure, good spirit guide, wisdom channeling.
Yes.
Okay. So the voice sometimes changes, the accent sometimes changes, the cadence, the
Yes.
flow changes. It's not you. Where are you? Right now, I'm driving my car. I'm in the driver's seat. When I'm channeling, I'm in the trunk in the back.
Wow.
Not like a kid, like I'm kidnapped. Let's just say I'm many, many rows back in a blanket, relaxing, and I'm letting the spirit guide drive my car. So I am not at the wheel. Am I somewhere in the realm? Yes. Am I somewhat knowledgeable or aware of what's going on? Yes. Sometimes not. I'll channel for 3 hours. I do not remember anything but maybe 2 messages I gave people.
Is that
Because
exhausting for you?
no, in the beginning it was.
Yeah.
Now, not at all. It's the opposite. I come back like I had the best nap. I get to sleep while I work, proving my high school teachers wrong. They used to say to me when I would fall asleep in class, well, Mr. Mirza, you're not going to get through life sleeping. It's not going to pay the bills. Well, you were wrong. Whatever my teacher, I forget what his name was, Mr. Brown, you were wrong. I did get through life sleeping and making my living and making my money that way. But it became my life, became my career to let flow happen. So a lot of channelers, psychics, mediums, they used to be artists. Art is the first way you can channel if you're making art. Singing. Channeling is you're stepping out of the way. You're letting energy flow through you, just like the word canal or the English Channel, the Suez Canal. It is the same root of the word, which means there's an opening through which something flows. In the case of a channel, English Channel or the Suez Canal, it's water. In the case of a human being, it is psychic information, wisdom flowing through them. So there are people who are very well-known personalities who are on the earth that people channel. They could be writers, philosophers, musicians, world leaders. People have channeled them, religious figures. Just go on YouTube. You'll find everything. Go in the bookstore. You'll find everything. Things you can't even believe. People channeling Jesus, people channeling Buddha, people channeling Elvis Presley. I'm not here to say they're not. They may be. What do you know or what do I know? They may be. You're not going to know until you know. Maybe when you get to the other side, you'll know.
Yeah.
So leave that alone, because the point that I like to make to people is, even if you don't necessarily, you aren't completely convinced this is a spirit guide or that person coming through the channeler, listen to the message.
Yes. So I had a moment once in what I would call a trance. Someone was doing a past life regression on. I really jump in there. I do it all. I was doing a past life regression, and I was, to your point, I was in the room and I was aware I was in the room, but I wasn't. I was just sort of in a bit of a trance, I guess. It was all recorded, so I was able to go back and listen to it. And at one point, Jesus came through, and
Mhm.
Jesus, we were in a, I don't know, I was in the tomb where he was buried. And I
Mhm.
remember seeing through his eyes and being like, I'm not dead. They think I'm dead, but I'm not dead. And I'm going to leave now because I'm going to, there's a little hole I'm going to crawl through, and everyone's going to leave me alone now because they think that I'm dead, and I'm not. And I remember leaving the tomb and feeling so happy that I was free from this constraint and heaviness of what was being cast upon me.
Right.
And it felt so real that I was seeing this happen and having these thoughts as another person. So again,
Okay,
I
very
don't know what
powerful
that is.
experience. Here's what I have so many things that could launch me into conversations, but I'll say this. I would never say that something never happened to a person, because we do not, again, let's repeat it for everybody here. No one knows all of reality. Here's what I would say safely and confidently that I do know. There are understandings that you can apply that will help you explore more openly and process and connect dots much more efficiently, with more inspiration, with much more positive energy, with understanding that, oh my God, we all are eternal. This continues on and on and on. So we also, by the way, because we reincarnate, sometimes you get to the other side, and you'll see this in the movie What Dreams May Come, that you meet your grandma, but she doesn't look like your grandma, and she's not even female. Like, what? And then she's talking to you, and you're like, you're not my grandma. And then she morphs, and she's like, oh, you remember me like this? Here, you need to see me like this. Hi. And you're like, oh, it's grandma. And then you're like, oh my God, so we live many lifetimes. I knew you before. And she's like, yeah, when I was this male figure you're seeing, we used to be friends back in ancient wherever.
Yes.
Dying is the most mind-blowing experience, because you realize you're not dead. And that's what
Yes.
you were privy to in the experience, which is not past nor future. It all exists now. That's a very heavy concept, which we need part 2, 3 to talk about this.
I have a lot of
So
things like that to at for with me. I don't even know what it is.
we are, for sure. So channeling, you become that open space through which this flows. You have to take your hands off the wheel. You have to allow yourself to know that what is coming through is supposed to come through. A psychic medium or channeler is only going to be able to share information that they are meant to at that moment. There are times I'm doing a reading and the person is only there to hear about their best friend who died, and who's coming through? The neighbor who died 6 years ago, and then their third grade teacher.
Yeah.
But the best friend is not coming through. That's not the medium's fault. The medium has no control, nor authority, nor jurisdiction to be able to tell a client, don't worry, come in for a reading. I'm definitely going to contact your person. It does not happen that way. And it's not a phone call that you go, hey, Uncle Joe, where's the money? Oh, it's under the stairs behind the suitcases. If it was like that, boy, this would be really wild. But it's not like that. When you connect with the person who's on the other side, they will say what they have come to say and convey, to the extent of, at that moment, what needs to be said. You don't always know what needs to be said. Take what you get, and then you will understand why that was said. Okay, back to spirit guides. So the spirit guides come into the body when you enter into that deep state of relaxation and trance that you were talking about that you did. And eventually, and here's how it starts. So the way that it started for me, So I have a spirit guide. His name is Red Eagle. He's channeled books through me. He's channeled a whole deck of cards through me. He's given readings to thousands of people for 20 years, thousands. And he's amazing. He's like an old Native American chief. Why did he come through me? One time I told him, I'm like, I'm not that kind of Indian. He's like, I don't care. He's like, we're old friends when we were different ethnicities. I was, oh, he's like, these are costumes. So anyway, he comes through. He kind of sounds like a big old oak tree, and he gives messages to people. So I was doing readings, and I would feel people's spirit guides. I never really actually thought about, weirdly enough, like I have a spirit guide. I don't know. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that actually was where I was at. And so I started doing this thing called automatic writing to get in touch with my spirit guides. So I was scribbling through a notebook, and I would just scribble. And I literally filled 3 spiral notebooks, the kind you buy in CVS, with nothing but loops and X's, and made no sense. But my teacher has said, just keep going till something happens on its own. I think on my 4th notebook, suddenly my hand wrote, I'm Red Eagle. And I dropped the pen. It was a mixture of fear, awe, and love that was happening. And tears came to my eyes. I cannot explain it. I could have never predicted that that's what I was going to feel by writing that. And that is exactly what happened. And I dropped the pen and I sat there and I had this tremendous sadness, but joy at the same time. I don't know how to explain it, but those were the feelings. And over time, I would write the messages that he would say. He would say things like, call your brother, or your friend doesn't understand this. Look for this symbol. And by the way, this is not like all in one shot. We're talking over the course of weeks and months. I would get one little message. But over time, because I was committed to this, it started growing. Eventually, it became where I would sit with people and I would close my eyes and I would say, Red Eagle says, you need to look into the state of Minnesota, whatever. And the person would say, oh, I'm actually applying for a job there, whatever. Then it became, hello, I am Red Eagle, like in this voice. Hello, I am Red Eagle. I see that you are, and that's how the words would come, like almost like they're being typed out. And I would still be Riz, repeating as him. Still Riz. I'm in control of it. Then I noticed my voice started kind of changing a little bit, and it was turning into this strange accent on its own, and my eyes would still be closed. So stages, I'm walking you guys through stages of how I went into full trance channeling, where now Red Eagle is totally eyes open, sits like this. He's gotten up and walked around. He's walked around a room. He's sat in nature talking to people. He's played a drum. All sorts of stuff has happened. But it was through stages of surrender and trust where it came through. And that's now I'm able to just like go right into it. Within 10 seconds, I can go into that deep trance state. How? Well, how does the gymnast go into a split, at the coffee shop? Because she's been doing it for 20 years. She wasn't always able to do that. Now she just needs to click her neck and she can go into a split.
Yes.
So that's what I can do now. I can do it very quickly, where before it might take me 20 minutes to go into the state.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I'm hoping that like I don't know why I'm calling it a program. Programs like yours, or schools or mystery schools as they existed once before, can shepherd the people that are curious about these things into a place of where it will be okay to practice it and learn it. They have schools in India and China where kids are doing mind sight. Like hundreds of kids are learning how to see without their eyes. And
Beautiful,
so,
I know.
so beautiful. So like I really look forward to when that happens for us as a Western civilization.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting, and I think it's been coming to me lately, where I've been thinking a lot about these schools where the practice is telepathy, or the
Yeah.
practice is a certain kind of psychic communication. Right now, a lot of the testing has to do with what I would call practical, literal kind of things, like blindfold them. Can you see this? Yes, it's a rose. Mind blowing. Can you
Yes.
see the blindfold? You guys know these tests. They're mind blowing. This exists. And we can call that psychic, because it is everything is, to me, is psychic energy, I believe. What do we mean by that?
It's another sense. It's just beyond the sense. It's your other sense.
But I'm saying everything is psychic energy. So this tray that's sitting here on my left, is that psychic energy? It's energy that is created by thought. That
Yeah.
everything is thought energy. That's why people say, is this a hologram? You've heard people say that. Is this a simulation? And I say, no, it is a projection. It's not simulating anything. It's not simulating means something is trying to be something else. It's simulating that thing. No, it's like trying to say that there's another place that's more real than this. I want to go home. All these people say, I want to go home to my spiritual home. Okay, let's say you do go to this spiritual home, and now you're in that spiritual home and you're there. And then they're like, we have roots. Wait, I thought it was home. Where are our roots? There's another real home? What will you do then? Your present moment is the only reality that exists. You do exist multidimensionally, that we can talk about. But this now, and I'm not talking Tony Robbins seminar now. I'm not talking the whole, go for it in life. You only have right now. That's not what I'm talking about. I can give you a fact that will blow your mind if you really think about it. Here's two things. Everything that you see, smell, touch, hear has always existed in the past. If you and I, right now you're looking at me on the screen, so let's say we're sitting in the room, or you can look around at the room. Everything you're seeing is a past version. You're not seeing anything in real time. What is that? How? What do you mean? Light is hitting every object in your room right now and bouncing off that object, and it takes time for it to reach your eyes and that optic nerve and reach your brain, and that signaling. It's milliseconds for this to happen, but it's still time-based. It still takes time. So that light has already left that object, and while it's traveling, you're just going to receive the past image of it. That's why people say the light of the sun, whatever, it takes 8 minutes for it to reach here. There's stars in the sky that you remember the teacher said there's stars in the sky that don't exist anymore. You're just seeing the light reach you.
Yes, millions of years away.
Okay, you look at your hand right now, everyone. You're seeing it in the past. If I turn the light, of course it's the past. It takes time for the light to hit your hand and reach your eye. It's very quick, but it's still the past. It's never exactly as it is in the moment. That's why many cameras can pick up things that you didn't see were happening in the room because it's faster than you. So the same thing with hearing, the sound of speed. No sound that you have ever heard in your life has ever been in the moment. It takes time for the sound to reach your ears. It takes time for when you touch your leg, rub your leg right now. That takes time for that signal to reach your brain. So you have never experienced anything physically in the now. There's only one thing and one sense that you have that is not bound by time, and that is this.
Which is so wild. Yes.
I live for that wild.
Yes. So do I.
So it's like you go, well, what do you do with that information? I go, you don't need to be freaked out by it. You just need to understand that as you look around the room, as you've never seen your friend or your mom or your husband or your wife or your kids or your dog or your cat ever in the exact same moment as they exist. And that's, once you understand the scientific principle, that's the truth. There's no scientist who could ever dispute what I'm saying here because it's just fact. But there's other facts too. And now let's talk about, will technology one day, it's funny because now I feel like I'm channeling something right now. Will technology one day prove that spirit guides exist or even spirits exist? Because this camera and this microphone is limited by the technology. Remember the dog whistle?
Yes.
Blow the dog whistle, your dog hears it, you can't. So I blow the dog whistle and everybody in the room will say, does it make a sound, Riz? I go, well, the dog hears it. Oh, so there is a sound. You're limited by the technology again. Using that approach, clearly, things can exist that you cannot see or perceive with your physical senses yet. And so we develop a technology called a microscope. I can't see an atom.
Yes.
But we developed the atomic microscope so that you can.
Yes.
Wouldn't it make sense that one day, 100, 200 years from now, which is nothing in the space, in this span of time, that there will be a camera, let's just say there'll be a camera that can pick up spirits. What will you say then?
Like between the doctors that are the psychic mediums and this camera that's picking up the spirits, I think we are truly speaking of a future that absolutely exists.
And it absolutely is going to happen because there's so many things that no one would have ever believed even existed until we had that technology. And so for the people who don't believe, they'll need the technology to see it. And for the people who already believe, they have an inner technology that already sees it. It's their personal experience. And that is going to speak volumes when the technology people catch up to the metaphysical people. And they go, oh, yeah, there is. Oh, yeah, there seems to be a face behind that channeler. Where? Look, you can see it here. Look, and then there's a light going into them. Yeah, we tried to tell you that. Yeah, but you guys were crazy spiritual people back then. Are we crazy now? Well, now we are the authorities. See, that's what's happening now. Now
Yes.
we are the authorities. So when things like ayahuasca or psilocybin are brought into the mainstream by psychiatrists and pharmaceuticals, then you'll accept it.
Yes.
But because shamans have been telling you this for thousands of years and have been helping people, so now you're going to give the authority to these people who just barely discovered it. They don't really know anything about it. They're just relying on that they have a fancy camera that can see spirits now, 200 years from now. And then they're going to consider those people the experts? I don't think so. So get on it now and start meditating and breathing and reading. You're going to go and you discover a lot of fluff out there.
We might need to trademark this.
Yeah, why not? I always look at it like, why not? Like in 100 years, every single person on this planet will be switched out with a whole new group.
Isn't that wild? The whole thing is wild. Even with the telepathy tapes, we say pretty clearly, like, we're just not there yet. Like, why do you have to have science or a scientist try to prove to you that a kid is reading his parents' mind through remote viewing? Your mind hasn't caught up to it because you are conditioned and you are conditional and you are just
There's
a human.
signals going out. Okay, let's talk about vibes. Vibes, vibrations. Because people will say, well, thought you're reading my mind. I go, I mean, for lack of a better, we don't really have the language, so I guess you can use those words. I'm reading your mind. I'm not a mind reader. Here's why. I've given people messages that they didn't know themselves. So how am I reading their mind?
Yes.
It's weird. You didn't know it, and I didn't know it, but
Here it
here's
is.
the name of a person who's coming into your life. Okay, so it's not mind reading. But now, is there such a thing called mind reading? I do believe that. And I do think the telepathy tapes do show that there is this psychic connection of being on the same frequency. You're tapping into the party line. You're tapping into, yes. Okay. So let's talk about that just for a second. And I totally lost my train of thought. I said, let's talk about what we're going to talk about.
There's so much being talked about.
There's something.
I promised you and everyone on your team, I was like, it's 20 minutes. And here we are.
Like an hour, right? Already has gone by. Okay, wait, there's one more thing I want to have to say. There's one more thing, and I determined to remember what I was going to say, and I really can't even remember. We were talking about channeling. We talked about the spirit guides. We were talking about,
The
that's what we've been
future
doing for an
being able
hour.
to have the cameras that you could take.
That's what we're talking about, the technology. So the limitlessness
Yes.
of exploration, discovery is what we are in now. And every single person has had some sort of intuitive experience where I got it. I was talking about vibes and vibrations.
Yes.
Okay. So the human being is thinking and feeling and sending out vibrations, and people will say, that's not true. I go, oh yeah, let's do an experiment. Let's get 20 people in a room and let's tell the 20 people, we're going to send a person in who's going to come in here, and we want you guys to welcome her and be friendly, be nice, and talk to her, offer her some food, and just let her be part of the get together. But we want you to, behind that, send her like daggers.
Ew.
You know what I mean? Like, just like bad vibes. Send her bad vibes, but don't say anything bad. Just be nice, but secretly send that.
It's terrible.
You don't think that person's going to feel it?
I feel it.
Something's off?
Yes, of course.
So what is that? Vibes. The vibes are off. Everybody's being nice, but the vibes are off. Something's off here. You're right. Vibrations are off. You're scientifically, physically feeling vibrations. Now multiply that by 100. Why multiply it by 100? Because years ago, we didn't know what certain things were. We kind of scientifically were like, oh, what's that bacteria? And then we had to get microscopes and other things and experiments. And 10 years later, whatever, we have penicillin. Okay. So it's the seed. That these moments are the seed where you go, yeah, you can feel vibes and vibrations. Okay. So what happens if you keep developing that? Eventually you'll come into psychic ability. You will. It's just this thing has atrophied so much. Not even atrophied. You haven't even developed it. You were born with it, but it never got developed. And therefore it became kind of this, what's the word? Vestigial organ? Is that the word? Where like it's a vestigial organ, like an organ that you don't really need anymore because it doesn't get used? becomes like that. So
Well, with like, let's say Buddhism or with the lamas, the kids are very young and they're taken from their homes and put into the school, and all they do is practice their entire lives.
what are they practicing?
I mean, I believe that they're practicing a state of nowness.
I have
They're,
very
they're,
different
they're,
opinions about it.
I guess that they're practicing, you know,
When
presence.
you have just one focus,
Yeah.
you can be pretty good. A human being can become pretty good at anything.
Yes.
Nothing to take away from any human being, but I'm just saying it's logic. I wish they had taken me away and made me into
A llama.
a classical pianist, or I wish I could have become Jimi Hendrix or Eddie Van Halen or whatever. But there were so many other things, because the people who are truly gifted, they don't really need to be taken to those kinds of places. It just develops where they are. If you talk to mediums, even from myself to anybody else, we had in many ways very ordinary lives.
Yes.
Even though I'm Indian, I didn't grow up where my parents were like, listen to the guru and the astrologer and do this and do that. It was more sideways, where they believed in living from the heart, but that was about it. Nobody ever helped me develop it in any structured, real way. And a lot of people, and whoever's watching, you know who you are. You got to where you are through little bits of scattered information that you put together, and through your own effort, you took those little bits of scattered information and opportunities, and you put them in the pot and stirred it up and put it on the stove, and you had a meal, and that nourished your life, and here you are. And so that has been my story. My teachers were not tons of psychics, or that I had one great mentor who barely mentored me, by the way. And he would say it himself. He's on the other side now, and an amazing psychic medium trance channel. His name is Alex Murray. And on my YouTube channel, which is called The Mystics Podcast on YouTube, you can look it up with my name. You'll find an interview with him. And he's a huge influence on my life, because I used to watch him channel, but he never sat me down to teach me how to channel. It was like if you spent time with a great chef and just watched them and how they spoke about food, and then they let you taste it. And he goes, give it a stir once in a while and come over here and cut the vegetables like this. That's the most that my teacher ever really did with me. It was how he lived, what he spoke about just in general. And me observing him is how I learned. It was not classes. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with classes at all. I'm just saying there's lots of ways for you to learn. So if you're doing classes, do them. But a lot of the time, I'll give you an example. I had a student who really wanted to learn how to develop her psychic abilities and eventually become a channeler. And so I had given her 2 exercises. And one of them was that she had to learn how to roller skate. And the other was that she had to learn how to do a cartwheel. And she wanted to hear from me, go to the crystal store, hear the herbs, here's the crystals, get these, then find a place in the woods and light a fire, or go into your house and go into this state, call upon your spirit guides. And I'm here telling her to get a boombox, learn how to roller skate, go to Venice Beach and do it, and then also learn how to cartwheel. Why? Why would I tell her that?
So she could be free and have fun and be in
You
a
got
state
it.
of feeling.
Well, yes, fun, yes, but more about also, because you want to channel, the body has to be looser. So you getting crystals and getting magical potions and all these things exist, and I believe in them, by the way, but that's not what we need now. A cartwheel to do a cartwheel, you have to trust your body and alignment. You need to understand momentum and going forward and kicking your legs over. You don't need a lot of strength. There's people who are very heavy who can do cartwheels. There's a freedom of body, mind, and spirit that happens with something as simple as a cartwheel. And what about roller skates? Well, it's about learning a different flow and balance and sway and feeling the music, and the fact that she would even have to go out there and be afraid of falling on her ass in front of people. That is part of channeling, is letting go of those fears and inhibitions. It's not going to come from this. It's
Right.
not.
We can't think it through.
No. Remember the Karate Kid?
Yeah.
He had him washing the car. Why? Ralph Macchio was washing the car. And he was so pissed off that the teacher Mr. Miyagi wasn't teaching him martial arts, except this was how he was going to end up blocking.
Yes.
So my approach has always been a combination with people. I will teach you about spirit guides and understanding this basic structure of reality psychically. And then I'm going to tell you to go do things like that. Or one time I told a person, Halloween was coming up. I was like, what are you doing for Halloween? She's like, I don't really celebrate Halloween. Isn't it kind of for kids? I said, well, then I must be a kid because I celebrate in a huge way. I do the whole thing, makeup, prosthetics. I do it on my podcast. I do it even if I wasn't on a podcast, I did it. And I said, oh no, you need to be dressed as a man for Halloween. She was a very feminine woman. She's like, oh, like a really hot man. I said, no, not like a hot man. I want you to go as not an attractive man. I want you to go as some kind of character, and I want you to be it. So this is where, when we say theatrical, way back in the beginning of this interview, we talked about why does some channelers have this very theatrical way of channeling? Well, they're just letting loose and letting it flow through. I mean, don't be distracted by that. Why don't you get entertained by it? Why don't you flow with it? Why don't you listen to the message? If the message is making sense in this, and you go, well, it may not make sense to you just yet because you have knowledge that has not yet landed in your brain. So what I mean by making sense is that there's a beginning, middle, and end. The channeler is not going, that's all very human. And there's no fear-based messaging in the channeling. And good luck now, because I just kind of would tell you now, you're going to listen to like 2 out of 10. Most channelers I see, you will find somewhere where there's a fear-based channeling, which is, this is going to happen to the world. If I can tell you how many times, if I had $1 for every time a channeler said the great shift is coming. The great shift was coming in 1950, 1960, 1962, 1963, 1965. The great because it's always shifting.
Yes. Oh, that's interesting.
The great shift. Why have they been saying it's coming? Every year the great shift is coming? Yeah, because it is. The great shift is coming always. Right now, the great shift is coming. It's up to you. So fear-based. If you don't do this, here's the evil forces in the world. Here's this. We're all going to be gone in 100 years. This is not the final place. There never will be. This is where we are expressing ourselves right now. We want peace on earth. We want to be able to live a chaos-free life. Yes, we're working towards that, but it's going to happen one by one within us. So now we're getting into the areas of consciousness. We actually have always been talking about consciousness, but we're kind of culminating in our talk a little bit today about surrendering to a much larger understanding of reality that is not based on winning or losing, good versus evil, so-called light versus so-called dark. Why do I say so-called light versus so-called dark? Because the darkest times of your life is actually where you got everything out of your life. The lightest times, they go by so fast. They're so fleeting. The secret is that you see everything as light, even when you feel bad. Because people will say, Riz, you're a shaman, you're a psychic medium, are you always happy? I go, yes. And I'm always kind of a little sad too.
Yeah. The artist way.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, of course. Do you get angry? Do you get sad? Of course. But that's not my through line.
Yes.
No, that's not my through line, nor is that my foundation. So when you channel and when you learn to channel and what you can do to help you channel and get more into, guys, be an explorer, continue. This is going on for the rest of your life. There's no end goal here. Forget the end goal. There's a lot of magic happening in every single moment, and your channeling ability is the surrender, the breathing, the looseness, the fluidity, the sense of humor, no judgment on messages coming through. Why? Because I've given readings to people that maybe Riz as a human being would find to be very offensive or unpleasant people I wouldn't want to be around. And yet the spirit guides speak with so much love to them and so much positive, they don't judge them. So I go, why am I judging them? That's not my business. I'm here to deliver the messages. And there have been times where the spirit guides have said something that me as a human being would have been like, I don't agree. That's how I know it's not me. And then over time, of course, I always see they're always right. I'm like, oh, you're right. I get it now. I didn't think so at the time when I heard it, but I know now.
Well, this has been so informative, and you are so special. And we just rolled with that flow. And just truly a lot of what you're saying explains to me things I had questions about, but also your point, it's fun just to live in magic and channel magic. Like, magic doesn't have to be scary, and it's just life and it's love.
Oh my goodness. It is. It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like, you don't, just because it's, people go, I don't want to live in the shadows. I go, the womb that you were born from was physically dark in there.
Yes.
It wasn't the most beautiful environment in terms of standards of beauty, right? The embryo halfway through in the pregnant woman, is it beautiful? Like in a poetic sense, the embryo? Yes. But in a literal sense, it's not beautiful. Like, you don't go, I want to cuddle up with that fetus. You know what I'm saying? You want to cuddle up with the baby. When the baby comes, you want to cuddle up. But so the process of pregnancy is beautiful, every single thing about it, poetically. So life is like that. Yeah, your life is beautiful overall. Are there stages which don't look so good? Yes. But overall, it's the whole process of creation. So
Yes.
there's no way you can just do channeling as a hobby or a thing. It becomes a part of your life, just like smelling, tasting, touching, seeing, hearing. Welcome
Well,
to More Sense.
I love it so much. And thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. I love it so much. I'm so thankful for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You mentioned it for like a hot second, a minute back, but can you tell people where to find you if they want more
They can find me
information?
on IG, Psychic Riz the Wiz. That's my nickname that I've had since I was a kid. Psychic Riz the Wiz. You'll see the blue check mark on Instagram. My podcast with my wife Araya is The Mystics, and which is on YouTube. It's on twice a month. We do live streams where there's free psychic readings. It's super fun. It's the
Wonderful.
best psychic party on the internet. So check me out on my website, rizmirza.com.
Thank you. All right. It's great to meet you. And I hope to speak to you soon.
Same.
Thanks, Riz.